Ladies and gentlemen, today I am going to be giving you my Mount Rushmores on various topics, including sports and non-sports things. For those who missed the tweet a couple days ago, I actually asked you guys to give me recommendations, and that's where I got all of these from, so thank you very much for participating. And real quick to explain to those who don't know what a Mount Rushmore is, it's essentially you just giving your top 4 items for a specific category. You know, your Mount Rushmore of Disney movies, your Mount Rushmore of wide receivers, that kind of stuff. Real quick before we hop into the video, however, don't forget to use code WyattzWorld on G Fuel or Prize Picks, where you can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products or match up to $100 of your first deposit. But that's all we got for plugs. Let's get into the video. Alright, so first recommendation we have is from Silas here, and he wants to know who my Mount Rushmore of multi-sport athletes is. Sorry, multi-sport kings, people who are elite at multiple sports professionally. Anyway, please understand this is opinionated. I'm not gonna have the same list as everybody on the internet, plus that's not fun anyway, but my Mount Rushmore of multi-sport kings consists of primetime Deion Sanders, Bo Jackson, Mookie Betts, and Brock Lesnar. Now, I feel like most people know about Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders. You know, Bo was on the Royals and the Raiders. Deion was on, well, a bunch of teams, but I think it was the Falcons and the Braves at the same time. He actually played in a World Series, and he also played in an NFL and an MLB game in the same day once. He was nuts. But when it comes to the other two, Mookie Betts, if people didn't know, not only is he one of the best baseball players in the world, but he's also a professional bowler. And I actually used to bowl for about 20 years, so that's why I hold such a strong bond with him. Aside from Mookie Betts, we have Brock Lesnar. And as well with him, we have personal connections. He's a big Minnesota guy. He won a collegiate national championship with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Became a professional world heavyweight champion. Became an MMA UFC champion. Also made the Vikings preseason roster. He wasn't that good, but good enough to make a fucking roster. I definitely classify Brock Lesnar as a multi-sport king, and that is my Mount Rushmore of multi-sport kings. All right, next one we got is from Nick, and he says Mount Rushmore of announcers. This is a good one. So assuming we're just going all sports here, my Mount Rushmore of announcers would have to be Michael Cole, Joe Buck, Kevin Harlan, and Mike Breen. For those who don't know who Michael Cole is, he is a WWE commentator, but he has been the voice of wrestling for as long as I can remember. Guy absolutely kills it every single week. One of, if not the best announcers, honestly, I've heard throughout my life. After that, we've got Joe Buck, who is universally hated, but I will always have his back. The amount of work that guy puts in, especially in the month of October, and how well he can call a game is absolutely unmatched. To hate him is one thing. To say he's bad at his job, that's just a lie. Then we got Kevin Harlan, who I think actually probably has the overall best voice in sports. I absolutely love him in basketball. I love him in football too. And then ending, we have good old Mike Breen, and that's simply because of the BANG calls. Dude, I could hear that shit all day. Unless I'm on the losing end of it, then fuck him. But that is my Mount Rushmore of sports announcers. All right, this one is pretty funny. It's from DS. He says, what's my Mount Rushmore of drunk foods? Meaning the top 4 foods that I eat when I'm plastered. It's actually a relatively easy one. You ready? Pizza rolls, McDonald's, a burrito, or nachos. Any of those 4 I will fucking smash. End of story. Now moving on, we have one from Just Jake. He says, what is my Mount Rushmore of sports movies? This is another good one, but I'm gonna say it consists of Major League, Happy Gilmore, Rudy, and Miracle. Now obviously Major League and Happy Gilmore are just 2 instant classic comedies that'll withstand the test of time forever, and rightfully so. But Rudy, that's definitely more of a serious movie. If you haven't seen it, you definitely have to. It's about a guy who's not necessarily the biggest, but he has an enormous heart, and he just dreams of playing football at Notre Dame. And then you have Miracle, which is a hockey movie, and even though I don't like hockey, I remember my history teacher showing this to us in high school, and it ended up being flat out one of my favorite movies ever. It's about the USA hockey team in the Olympics. Miracle is a real story, by the way, but it's kind of just like a serious version of the Mighty Ducks. And that is my Mount Rushmore of sports movies. All right, next up we have No Longer Ma'am from Quesos. He's asking what my Mount Rushmore of NFL wide receivers is. I'm gonna go Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Kelvin Johnson, and Larry Fitzgerald. I think Jerry's had the best career overall. I think Randy was the most dominant receiver overall. I think Kelvin Johnson was the biggest freak of nature overall. And Larry Fitzgerald, I think, is overall just one of the best receivers and best people the world has ever seen. Actually, I also went to high school in Minnesota at Holy Angels. My cousin's boyfriend from Rockford had to play him. He got fucking destroyed. Poor Brent. All right, next up we have one from Benny Kicks. He says, what's my Mount Rushmore of colleges? And this one's gonna be funny because if you guys don't know, I don't really watch college football all that much, so the reasonings behind these are gonna be a little ridiculous. But I'm gonna go ahead and say the Minnesota Golden Gophers, the Tulane Green Waves, the Virginia Tech Hokies, and the LSU Tigers. Obviously, I like Minnesota because I live in Minnesota. I love Tulane just because the logo is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. I like Virginia Tech because that's where Michael Vick went and Tyrod Taylor went, so I just thought that was like the mobile quarterback academy for a little bit when I was younger, not anymore, but I still like them. And LSU just always seems to be producing electric receivers and corners, honestly, so it's just fun to follow up with them. But that's my Mount Rushmore of colleges. Moving on, we have one from Miles Straw Believer. He says, who is my Mount Rushmore of WWE Intercontinental Champions? And this is a good one because I don't have any of the old heads on here that a lot of people probably would. If you're asking who my Mount Rushmore of Intercontinental Champions are, I'm gonna say it's Gunther, The Miz, Chris Jericho, and Jeff Hardy. I mean, you can't not have Gunther in there. He is the best Intercontinental Champion ever. Then you got The Miz, who has held it how many times and made it prestigious over the years when a lot of people made it feel like nothing. Then you have Chris Jericho, who I think held it 9 different times throughout his career, always elevating the belt and the talent around it, whoever he was fighting. And then you have Jeff Hardy, who held it 5 or 6 times during his run in the 2000s, and he was probably the most entertaining Intercontinental Champion of all time because it was Jeff fucking Hardy. Never forget the ladder match that him and Johnny Nitro at the time had for the Intercontinental Championship just on Raw. That never happens anymore. That is my Mount Rushmore of IC champions. All right, this one comes from Brian. He says, my Mount Rushmore of MMA fighters, all time. This will be another pretty good one, I think, considering I don't watch a lot of MMA. So my reasonings are just gonna be because I like the guy and I think he's a badass. But if I had to rank my top 4 fighters, all time, UFC, MMA, we're gonna go with the Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Johnson, Conor McGregor, Brock Lesnar, and probably Sugar Sean O'Malley. And I feel like those are kind of all justified in their own ways. Like, you look at Conor McGregor, he has the most entertaining mouth the sport has ever seen. Demetrius Johnson's about the size of an Oompa Loompa and he can knock the shit out of anybody put in front of him. Sean O'Malley, I mean, look at the guy. Is that somebody who you think could kick anybody's ass put in front of him? Because I sure as hell wouldn't think that, and that's what makes it cool. And then ending, yeah, we have Brock Lesnar. He's the reason I ever even kind of got into the sport back when he had his stint in it, dude. I'll never forget the fight him and Frank Mir had. This guy was an actual fucking animal. Pinned up against the octagon and was just wailing his fucking head. Like, he wasn't in there for competition. He was in there specifically to fuck people up. That's my Mount Rushmore of MMA fighters. Next one is from Micah. He says, Mount Rushmore of Minnesota sports players all time. This one I had to think about for a little bit, but I think I happily landed with Joe Mauer, Adrian Peterson, Randy Moss, and Anthony Edwards. You gotta remember, KG did not win a ring here. Anthony Edwards is going to go down as the greatest basketball player this state has ever seen. And the next one we got is from Sawyer. He says, Mount Rushmore of fast food burgers. All right, we got the Papa Burger from A&W. We got the Culver's Bacon Deluxe Double. We got the Flamethrower Burger from Dairy Queen. And then I'm not shitting you, I just had it for the first time in Florida, but we have Checkers, just their double cheeseburger with the works on it, man. That shit was gas. Big burger, too. I think the burger at Checkers honestly weighed over a pound. Like, it was massive. Florida people are eating good. And ending here, we have one from Ace. He is asking what my Mount Rushmore of WWE Tag Team Champions is. And this is a good one as well because I had to incorporate the word champions. This isn't just tag teams. So my Mount Rushmore of Tag Team Champions would be the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys, the New Day, and the Usos. I mean, I feel like the New Day and the Usos should probably be cemented in everybody's Mount Rushmore if you've been watching wrestling over the course of the last 10 years. They have carried the tag team division, literally. Aside from those two, though, you got the Hardys, who have had a somewhat recent run, but they've always been probably the most entertaining tag team of all time. And then you have the Dudleys, where neither of them looked like they were jacked or athletically gifted. However, each match, these two would pull out some of the damnedest spots you would ever see. Like, they were the definition of electric. I understand why WWE didn't do it, but I still to this day wish they would have had one final run with the belts when they returned after, what was it, WrestleMania 33? Gosh, that was a long time ago already, but yeah. Mount Rushmore of WWE Tag Team Champions. And that is also going to be all for today's video, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this Mount Rushmore video. If you did and you want to see another one in the future, make sure to let me know in the comments. Also, just to remind you guys, not that it matters at all or affects this video, but this is pre-recorded. I am currently in Pittsburgh, and there will be a vlog coming hopefully Monday. I'm going to be hanging out with Highlight Heaven going to a Twins game. Hopefully you guys look forward to that. You guys know the drill with this. I'm going to get it edited so you guys can watch it on time. Have a great and safe weekend, and as always, I will see you in the next upload.